Hey guys, welcome back to the Samantha Parker Show. This is part of my Takeover series, which is something really cool which is something really cool I've been doing. And today I'm actually sitting down with Dr. Baum. We just call him Dr. Steve. I know, we kept saying Dr. Steve, Dr. Steve. I think if you're going to be a doctor, people should call you doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm informal, but I dig it. Yeah. Either way.
So you're the owner of Kaizen Health, and you also happen to be one of our clients. So this is going to be a fun episode.
You bet.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. Have you ever done a podcast?
I have not. This is my first. So here we go, guys.
I knew it. I did send you notes, though, which was pretty nice of me. Sometimes
Yes.
I won't do that.
Yeah, I
I'm like,
appreciate
just
it.
show up, and we're going to have a conversation. Okay. So Dr. Steve, what do you specialize in?
So I'm board certified in family and obesity medicine, which means that I have broad spectrum training in all things, both pediatrics and adults. But my passion is in obesity medicine and metabolic health. So I operate as a functional medicine doctor, primarily focusing on keeping people optimized and functioning to their best capabilities. And then as a concierge doctor, which means my patients have continuous cell phone access to me. And anytime they need anything, they can just text me rather than having to schedule formal appointments to get things done.
You know that soundbite? It's like, don't call, just text me.
I haven't heard that, but yeah.
That's what I think of when I think of you.
Yeah.
You haven't heard that?
No, but that is what I tell my patients. I'm
a
like,
little
yeah,
more
just,
time online.
Just text me. Yeah, I don't have a, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to get into your background really quick. And if I have to be honest, you guys, this entire episode is going to be dedicated to peptides because I've learned a lot about them from Dr. Steve. And if you go back to past episodes, you can listen to me like dissing on him.
I believe it.
I had a really different mindset, and it's almost kind of embarrassing because, and I think a lot of it's just because I'm watching so many people get too skinny.
Sure.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the Golden Globes recently? I was like, what is happening?
No, I believe it. But that is what happens when they're not done right.
Yeah, it's freaky. And so I've been really, really hesitant about them in general, but I've learned a lot about them, one, for listening to the videos that we help you make, and two, just asking you questions. So full disclosure, Dr. Steve is my doctor. But, okay, really quick though. A lot of people have been asking me, they're like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, I don't know. You just text him, right? But what if, let's say I show up in the ER for something? Am I calling you? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Oftentimes what happens is my patients will reach out to me before they think they need to go to the ER because sometimes they're on the fence, right? It's like, hey, I'm not dying, but maybe I feel like I'm dying. This is weird. What do you think? And then it can be simply a matter of reassurance. Like, I hear about this all the time. No big deal. Wait it out. We can take care of it on another day. Or yes, absolutely. I think this is something that needs to be evaluated ASAP, Rocky.
Okay. So like when you go somewhere and they're like, who's your primary doctor? It's you.
That's what people say. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, how does all this work? You know?
Yeah, you bet.
Because the last time I went to the ER, not for myself, I took my husband to the ER. This is like a total side story, but I took my husband to the ER. He got COVID in 2020, but like I helped him get in the bathtub and he couldn't get out of the bathtub.
Yikes.
And I had been really hesitant to take people to the ER. I wasn't just like, let's go to the ER.
Right.
But I was like, there's something really wrong with you. And he couldn't walk into the ER. And when we got to the ER, they kept like saying, your primary physician, you need to call him and talk to him about vaccines. And I was like, what are we doing right now?
Yeah.
I was like, for one, my husband had been vaccinated because he was in the military and getting ready to deploy. But I was like, what is going on? I'm like, are you guys going to treat him or not treat him? And it was one of the most insane experiences I've ever had. They did not treat him, by the way.
So you felt dismissed.
Oh, yeah,
just kind of
totally.
like, hey, we don't need to do anything here. Just follow up with your PCP type of thing.
Yeah, and they kept saying, you need to reach out to him and talk to him about vaccines. And I was like, what is going on? I didn't ask about vaccines.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Not sure how that's going to help my husband walk, right?
Yeah. So I ended up basically reaching out privately to people that I knew to get him like IVs. And I ended up with a nurse over at our house. And basically I fixed him.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, great. It's unfortunate that you had that experience, though.
Yeah, it was really weird. But anyways, I was just thinking about that the other day because I was thinking about you. And I'm like, in that situation, I wonder if I could have been like, no, I have a doctor. Because they kept being like, you need to talk to Dr. So-and-so with IHC. And I was like, what does this have to do with anything?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness going around COVID time.
Yeah, it was really weird. Where did you work during COVID?
I was in residency. So I was in my third year of residency at Utah Valley Regional in Provo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually born there.
Cool.
Not that you needed to know that, but that's where I was born.
Yeah, I delivered lots of babies in my time there, both vaginally and C-sections. At one point, I actually thought I wanted to go into obstetrics. And I was going to do a surgical fellowship in OB following residency, but those late night calls, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and your patient goes into labor, I was just like, it's too unpredictable of a lifestyle for me. I absolutely love delivering babies. It's a happy time for the most part, but yeah, too unpredictable of a lifestyle.
It is. And then you're kind of like waiting around for the baby too.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, it really is. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because when I was having a baby, I was like, where's my doctor? I didn't care.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve. So why did you become a doctor?
Yeah. That's a great question. I wish I had some like grand, super cool, altruistic reason for you. But the truth of the matter is that I'm a fart in a whirlwind. That's what my grandma has always said. So I have been all over the place ever since I was young. I think what really drove my desire to become a doctor was I always wanted to be a teacher and a football coach. That was always what I wanted to do. And then at some point in my life, I realized I want too many kids and I'm not going to be able to afford them on a teacher's salary. So what can I do that enables me to both teach and coach? And being a physician actually has
That was like an actual realization you had?
That was an actual realization. So the word doctor, the Latin root for doctor is docere, which means to teach, to instruct, or to show. And as a physician, that is what I believe my first and foremost duty is, to educate my patients, to empower them to make informed decisions on their own, and just be a partner in their health.
Okay, so you have a pretty cool background, which I actually didn't know about it until you got kind of put on the spot the other day at an event we were at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you started sharing some of your journey and your story.
Oh.
And I was like, what? That's really cool.
Okay.
So you kind of didn't grow up with your family being like, let's go to medical school.
No. I grew up a poor kid in school. So, we were the family that would put stuff on layaway. I don't know if you've ever heard of layaway.
Yeah, we used to put coats on layaway.
Yeah.
I grew up
Put our school clothes on layaway. I thought that was a cool thing to do. Apparently it wasn't, because I got made fun of about
at Shopco?
Later. Yeah, whatever, Shopco. I think Kmart was a thing back in the day. Yeah, first generation college graduate, so nobody in my family had even gone to college, let alone gone to, grad school or professional school, medical school. I barely graduated high school, to be honest. I think I was a day away from another absence to where I would have not graduated. I just was all over the place. Like I said, I played sports. I had a lot of friends. I just never really applied myself. But despite the fact that, my parents weren't necessarily, college educated, obviously, they were hardworking, blue collar people, and they loved me. And they always told me that I could do whatever I wanted to do. I had the potential to become what I wanted to become, which, of course, at a younger age, I didn't really know what that meant. But I guess the point I'm getting at is if you have people in your corner that love and support you, it doesn't matter where you come from. You can literally do anything. And so I definitely attribute my success to the support I had from my family.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So how did your personal story kind of shape the way you practice medicine today? Because we will get into the way that you practice medicine, because it's not normal.
Yeah.
And I'm going to air quote like normal, It should be normal.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think just coming from kind of humble beginnings, being a guy from a blue collar family, right? Like I went to medical school at Ohio State University / College of Football. And I was surprised because, there were so many smart people in my class. They had gone to Harvard and these Ivy League schools. They had gone to private schools growing up. Like, what the heck is a private school, right? Like, I went to public school. I barely graduated public school. And so I'm just a normal dude, right? I don't have this, like, a sense of a higher power or that my education makes me better than anyone. And I'm not saying that everybody that's a doctor does, but certainly there are some very arrogant...
I do think sometimes they get, like, a God complex going.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But there's a lot of really awesome doctors.
There's a lot of really awesome ones, but, we just kind of... with all that education sometimes can come a little bit of arrogance. And so, because I didn't grow up expecting to become a doctor or anything like that, just being a normal guy, I practice medicine, I think, more humanistically, if you will, right? I approach my patients as their equal, as someone who I want to develop their trust from, right? And as a partner in their health. Like, hey, what are your goals? And then here's A, B, C, D, E options of how we can achieve that. What do you think is best for you? I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not my job. My job is to educate you and work together to see what you want to do and how you want to go about it.
I love that. You know what I'm thinking right now? I'm like, these are so many good clips for your social media.
Cool.
I'm like trying to follow along, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be so good.
You're the expert on that.
I try to be.
Right.
I don't know if anyone actually is because it changes so much.
40,000 views on Instagram a month to 350,000.
Yeah, and
now.
I told you we were really watching those numbers and making sure we're pushing them up.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that. I'm all here. Side note, guys. I don't know if you click your trial reels, you have a whole bunch of content that you're not seeing running in the background.
You're going to have to show me how to do it. You know,
yeah.
I'm a little special when it comes to social media.
No, so that's a lot of it. It's kind of cool that we can do that now on Instagram.
Yeah.
Is like we're actually running a whole different set of content.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, that you're not even seeing on your main page.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's kind of fun.
You know more about my account than I do.
Yes.
I'm cool with it.
I try to. That's our job. And
right.
Jess, our main content creator, she spends a lot of time knowing a lot about your account.
That's cool.
Yeah, she's fun. Okay, so what led you to build Kaizen Health? Well, what does Kaizen mean?
So Kaizen is the Japanese philosophy for continuous improvement. So actually started at Toyota. It was like their business model. You know, how can we make small, tiny, incremental improvements every day that lead to long-lasting, sustainable, successful results, right? I recently achieved or obtained, whatever you want to call it, my master's in health administration last year, towards the end of last year from Louisiana State University. And in one of my business classes, I learned about that. And I was like, that is so cool, because that's actually how I kind of live my life or practice medicine, is like, we don't need to do everything at once, right? You just need to make small changes day by day. Otherwise, people get overwhelmed and they jump ship, and it just ends up being counterproductive. But if you can just pick a small, tiny change, focus on it, make it happen, and then work, from one step to the other, that's what really, leads to long-lasting results.
Yeah, my cousin said something to me a couple of years ago that's kind of stuck with me. I go, damn, when did you get so ripped? Like, he showed up. Yeah, we were at the pool, and I was like, when did you do that? We're just a few days apart. And he's like, he looks at me dead in the eyes, and he goes, CrossFit 5 a.m. for the last 5 years. I was like,
yeah.
And it really kind of stuck with me, because it was like, oh, he's
that
like,
checks.
Yeah, continuous work nonstop. Like, you don't just show up one day and you're like ripped.
Yeah, no, it does. It takes consistency too, right? You gotta put in the work, but you gotta be consistent with it. Too many people want a quick fix and
so
how to do things. What
was kind of your motivation to leave traditional medicine and start Kaizen Health? Because you don't know a lot of doctors. In fact, I can't name any that have kind of started their own thing, and they're going against some of the big players here, the big healthcare companies here in Utah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, first and foremost, who doesn't want to do things they want to do things the way they want to do things, right? It's a lot easier to work for myself without having to be told what to do. And then secondly, a lot of people don't realize, but physicians are not the ones practicing medicine these days. It's corporations that hire them, and it's the insurance companies that pay for, patient procedures and services, right? If I want to prescribe you, for example, a medication that I think is going to be best for your health, for whatever condition, etc., insurance will say, well, actually, she needs to try 3 different medications that are less effective for so many months before we'll even consider, approving this. And it's like, why do you insurance people without any sort of medical education get to dictate how I practice medicine? I mean, it's ridiculous. So working with insurance was a big turnoff. I don't work with them. I don't want anything to do with them. They're crooks. We can, whole nother episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think, secondly, corporate medicine is just so freaking, I'm just going to say it's stupid. It's all focused on bottom line, how much money, how much profit they can make. I mean, I remember I was working for an organization in Wyoming, and I got pulled into my medical director's office, and it was like, hey, your numbers look good, but we need you to be a little more productive. And so, these patients, you're only seeing them once or twice a year. And I'm like, well, yeah, because they're healthy. I don't need to see them. Like, well, maybe you could ask them to come in a few more times a year. I'm like, for what, right? Like, what am I going to waste their time for, and to do what? Just to improve, your bottom line, your productivity, the money you make. And so it's just really sad that medicine has got to that point where it's almost more about business than a person's actual well-being and their health. And I don't want anything to do with that. It's corrupt, in my opinion.
Well, what I really enjoy about your model is what you said to me the other day was that you're not a salesman, you're a doctor.
Correct.
And so what I think is cool is like you just have your flat monthly fee, and then you're not making any money on the drugs.
Correct. For my monthly membership patients, I don't do any markup.
Yeah, which is so awesome because, we're going to get into GLP-1s and stuff in a second and do a full, like everything I've ever wanted to ask a doctor about peptides. It's going to happen.
Gangster.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
If I have follow-up questions, I'll text you.
Okay. Yeah,
He's going to be like, great.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing right now is a lot of like clinics, even like you go in to get your Botox, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, do you know we can like prescribe you weight loss medication?
Yeah.
And, I'm looking at some of their plans, you're looking at $200 would be low, $400, $500, $600. I've seen $1,200 for their monthly plans when really they're slinging you a GLP-1 that's like maybe $100.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that's like my biggest, like, what do you will, nails on a chalkboard cringe factor. People say, do you sell peptides or do you sell GLP-1s? I'm just like, I don't freaking sell anything. I'm not a salesman. I'm a physician, right? Like, you should not sell medicine because medicine should be determined by a person's health, their condition, their goals, right? If you need something, talk to me about it. If you want something, talk to me about it. We'll determine if it's a good fit for you. And then, like you said, where you pay $99 a month and have unlimited access to me, you get medication at my clinic pricing, my discounts, right? Because I don't ever want you to feel like anything I'm recommending for you is for my profit and my benefit and not yours.
Yeah, well, I've gotten those whole lists. Well, I've gotten those huge lists that are like, here's all these supplements I want you to take. Here's all of this. And I'm like, what in the world is this?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you a backstory about that. And this is, one of the reasons why I practice my model the way I do is when I started TRT a couple years ago, so I have polycystic kidney disease. I'll need a transplant within, a few years. And there is an association with kidney disease and low T at an early age. So that hit me.
TRT is testosterone
replacement therapy. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the symptoms of low T, having low T hit me earlier, my mid to late 30s as opposed to, 40s and beyond. Anyways, the point I'm making is when I went into this clinic, to seek TRT and whatnot, guy was a PA. He was a good dude. He's going over everything. And then he was like, okay. And then lastly, he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to offer you that. You don't need it. And I was like, offer me what? He goes, well, we always offer our patients vitamin D injections. I'm like, you're not going to offer me it? He's like, well, no, you don't need it. And I'm like, right? Like, yeah, you're right. I damn well do. No, I don't need it. So, but that's what's going on in a lot of these spas and these clinics. It's just like, here's a supplement, here's an injection, here's whatever. Well, but why? Well, because they're selling it, right? And it's like, I didn't agree with that. It's like, if I know I don't need it, why would you?
You're like, you should be embarrassed.
Push that on a patient, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know. And they're just, but a lot of people are just in it to get money. And anyways, yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And then the other thing, and I've told you this too, it might be in my notes further down, but we're going to talk about it now. I cannot handle how many influencers online are getting paid. So like they're making money off of pushing peptides.
Yeah.
And you can get on websites. I've looked. There's an MLM right now that a lot of girls right here, Utah girls, are slinging.
Yeah.
And you can get on, you put in your height, your weight, so you could make up whatever you want. And that GLP-1 ships to your door. And that freaks me out.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, where's the, medical necessity determined in terms of, a person's BMI, their body composition, other health factors, metabolic issues, diabetes for one, right? GLP-1s definitely regulate blood sugar. So as a person already have high blood sugar, they're already on medications that could potentially conflict with GLP-1s.
So do you run labs before you?
So they're not absolutely necessary.
Okay,
so
that's what I was wondering.
This is a good thing. I don't have to run labs if people report any sort of history of, kidney disease or things that could potentially, interact with that. GLP-1s are for the most part safe. But again, it's, what medications are you taking? Because there are certain things that need to be figured out.
I just don't think you should be able to go on a website and then get like injectables into your body.
I have
just personal thoughts I have on it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, so let's break this down. What are peptides in the simplest terms?
Midget proteins.
Okay. That was super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think of a protein, right? And most people know it's a chain or sequence of amino acids, right? So tiny little chain links, multiple. It's like to make a protein, you have to have 50 to 100 amino acids at least. Anything less than 50 amino acids is considered a peptide. So a peptide really is just a very, very tiny protein. That's why I call them midget proteins.
So what do they do? Like, so I inject it into my fat in my stomach.
Yeah.
It goes in really easy. What is it doing?
So a peptide actually is a hormone. And so when we say peptide, we were referring to its chemical structure, which again is amino acids. So peptides are water soluble, meaning that they can travel and circulate around your bloodstream without being bound to any sort of carrier protein or little boats, as I like to call them. And so once a peptide enters into your bloodstream, it will bind and interact where it's supposed to. For example, you take a peptide like sermorelin or ipamorelin, right? That binds.
What are those?
Yeah, those are peptides.
Okay.
So those are peptides. They're technically referred to as growth hormone releasing hormone secretogs or analogs, meaning they mimic the action of growth hormone releasing hormone. So
Okay.
that comes from our hypothalamus in the brain. It goes to our what's called the anterior pituitary. If you look at an anatomy scan, it looks like this little
I do know what that is.
little ball
Yeah.
sack in the anyway. So it goes to the anterior pituitary where it says, "Hey, release growth hormone." Right?
Okay.
And so then that gets into the bloodstream, and growth hormone has so many benefits for us, to include like good sleep, muscle recovery. You get increased lean muscle mass, decreased fat. So body
Are you
composition
gonna grow
change.
though?
No, not going to grow. Not in a. Not
Like,
in
what
a,
if I want to grow 2 inches?
Too late for you. I'm sorry.
What if I want to hit 6 feet? I'm so close.
Yeah, not gonna happen. No more growth. You've reached that point in your life where those growth plates don't exist anymore. But so yeah, that's what a peptide does. You think of it compared to like other hormones, like what we call sex steroids, testosterone, estrogen, those types of things. Peptide hormones are very short acting, so they act quickly and they don't last super long. Insulin, for example, is a peptide hormone. A lot of people don't know that. Okay.
No, I did not know that.
Insulin is a hormone. It lasts for like 5 minutes once it's secreted, right? So it's in and out. Whereas like testosterone will last in your body for a week, at a time. So that's kind of a small breakdown for you.
That's actually really fascinating. Okay, why are they getting so much attention right now?
Because there is a lot of up and coming research on various clinical benefits of peptides. Now, when I say clinical benefits, most of the research, which I know these social media influencers and people getting off the gray market are just completely ignoring, right? I don't know what it is about today and today's generations or whatever, but it's like people are so willing to look on social media, and if a person has a microphone and ear muffs or whatever the heck they're wearing and they say XYZ, it's like, oh, that's a fact. And it's like...
Well, I think what's happening is like there's been so much mistrust, distrust created in the world in general. Like you could put that in any industry, politics, medical, whatever.
Medical for sure.
And it's like, so everyone's kind of gone, whoop.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're our own advocates now, which is awesome. But I think the problem is we've gone a little like loony bin.
Yeah.
And you kind of just have to come back to a center,
Sure.
where you're still your own advocate, you're still doing your own research, but you're like, hey, maybe everything this guy over here is saying isn't true.
And I love what you just said, because you said doing your own research, right? So trust but verify. I'm all about people. I don't think you have to have the initials MD after your name or PhD, to be smart and to be educated. You absolutely don't need that, right? But too many people are eager to just say, well, this person said it. I don't know anything about that person. I didn't even look up anything with what they said, but I'm accepting that as truth.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a dangerous way to live your life, especially when it comes to injecting something into your body.
This is really funny, but the other day, my husband and I were laying in bed, at night, and we were like watching...
Doing what in bed at night?
Laying in bed at night, watching TikToks together.
Sure.
Listen, I do have my explicit rating.
TikTok and chill, is that a thing?
TikTok, yeah, instead of Netflix and chill. And we were laughing, and I kept scrolling, and it was another funny video, and it was another funny video. And all of a sudden, my husband goes, is this your TikTok? And I go, I don't think it is. It was your TikTok. Oh. And I was like, I think I'm on someone else's TikTok. Yeah. But he's like, because those were good.
Good video. So it was like pulling
good.
up what my feed or whatever.
It's like your algorithm. I was on your account, and I had switched to my account. Yeah. It was so funny.
I find some funny stuff on there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jake goes, well, at least he's like-minded.
Yeah. clean, right?
Yeah, it was just really funny. I was like, G. it was like another thing. I was like, okay. Yeah. It was so funny.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyways, that was my random thing. There was a lot of stuff about like truth and research and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure you guys can connect the dots there, but it was good. And usually I'll have like one or two of those things in my feed, but it was like next video. And I was like, hold on.
Yeah, this isn't me.
Yeah.
That's not mine.
Yeah.
Little Austin Powers humor for you.
You really do have to find, and I think doing your own research doesn't always mean like just watching, someone's TikTok. Either.
No. Like look up what, again, especially when it comes to peptides, like there are legitimate research studies and articles you can find that are published, right? Or, for example, I have a good friend. He's an orthopedic surgeon in Spokane, Washington. And he's saying, yeah, we use peptides all the time. Well, particularly BPC 157. We'll talk about that later. And I asked him today, I knew I was going to come talk to you. I was like, so, in your clinical experience, is this a positive thing? He's like, absolutely. It's been a game changer.
That's awesome.
So it's really cool when you can not only read the research and say, yeah, it suggests AYZ, but then somebody who's using it in clinical practice and it can be applied and it's working. So
that's cool.
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
so peptides, are we seeing any side effects? Because I keep thinking of, and this is just relates, because GLP-1s are their own peptides, right?
GLP-1s are peptides, yes.
Yeah.
They are their own. Yeah.
But they're like for weight loss, and then there's all these other peptides that do other things, right?
Yeah, so GLP-1s primarily we see them as weight loss, but we're starting to notice that they have a lot of anti-inflammatory properties and benefits as well. I have many patients that take a very small dose, not because they're overweight by any means, but because it reduces the inflammation that they've struggled with for so long.
It really does. And one of the things I came to you and said was, I'm like, when I first stopped drinking, all the inflammation like left my face, and I've noticed like I'm getting puffy again, and now it's gone. I'm like, oh my gosh, my face is back.
Yeah.
Which feels so good.
It's a nice face.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So back to your point, you said, yes, GLP-1s are their own peptide. They have their own
But okay, so when I think about GLP-1s,
effects.
in my head, I'm almost wanting to connect them to things like Fen-Phen. And, everyone was taking Fen-Phen. I remember my mom taking Fen-Phen. I remember everyone taking it and they got skinny. And then all of a sudden it was like all these people had heart valve issues and all of these things were going on.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm like kind of been really like was so hesitant, like full brakes on. I'm like, I'm not taking this shit.
Yeah.
You're going to find out that we're all going to die later on. But what are your thoughts on that? I'm taking it, so.
Yeah. And so a lot of people don't realize, because they've only become more popular in the last, 9 years or so. I don't know, 2017, 2018, whatever that math comes out to, 8-9 years. But GLP-1s have been on the market since 2002. So we're literally talking over 2 decades. These things have been extensively studied for safety and efficacy and all kinds of things. So they're not new. They're not this, trendy thing that hasn't been studied or used. It's just that more recently they're being used for weight loss, which is great. And we could talk about all the different, health risks associated with obesity later. But back to your point about Fen-Phen. So phentermine, fenfluramine, that was discontinued, I believe, in 1992 because the ingredient fenfluramine did cause heart valve issues. I think were associated with pulmonary hypertension, things like that. Phentermine is still on the market, and phentermine is very safe. They're doing a huge study at Wake Forest about the long-term effects and safety of phentermine.
I actually took Phentermine. I had a doctor, the same doctor that I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah.
I went in and I had a tumor in my leg, and I went in just to see, I needed to see him because insurance hoops. I'd already had it removed, but my leg was hurting a lot.
Yeah.
This was probably like 11 years ago. But I had to go see him to go see an orthopedic just to get an x-ray to make sure it was still good to go, you know?
Go see this guy to get a referral.
And he was like, well, you're overweight. I'm going to give you Phentermine. And I was like, I am? And so I was like, okay. And I took it, and I have to say it was quite lovely.
Yeah.
It was like crack.
Yeah. And so a lot of people think it's like, okay, is it a cocaine? Is it like a stimulant like Adderall? It's not. It does act as a stimulant, but it's not a stimulant in terms of being like an amphetamine. It's what's called a sympathomimetic, meaning it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. So people oftentimes they feel more alert. They feel awake,
everything was like
more
crystal
energy.
clear.
Yeah, right.
I was like, is this what people feel like?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then average weight loss, like 5 to 10% of your body weight. So not as effective as something like a GLP-1, but again, very safe for people who have normal, healthy hearts.
Yeah, I did have to go in, I think, every 2 weeks, and they would just check my blood pressure or something.
Check your blood pressure, yeah. And I have patients on phentermine, and they have cuff at home. They send me, their regular readings.
So that stuff's okay.
Totally. Oh, yeah. I've prescribed that for years.
Okay.
I never had any
But this
issues.
is where I'm like, are we all going to find out? Because everyone I feel like is taking peptides.
GLP-1s or different
GLP-1s.
Things. Yeah, so GLP-1s are totally different ballgame than peptides like BPC 157 and ipamorelin and all these things, because GLP-1s are FDA approved, right? These other ones are up and coming, and they're promising, and they have a lot of preclinical
Have they done any studies
benefits.
if people take them and then they're pregnant, like, are we getting birth defects? Like, is there anything coming out at all? Like, I'm thinking of all these things.
Yeah, that's a good question. So in general, we don't do studies on pregnant women. Obviously, that would be unethical. But to your point, I get what you're saying. Like, have they showed that someone who is on like a GLP-1?
I'm trying to find something wrong with them. Is what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, nothing like that today. A lot of people talk about thyroid tumors, right? thyroid tumors are not a thing in terms of it's not happened in human studies or trials. Anytime a drug hits the market in the U.S., it has to go through extensive clinical trials. And part of what they do before testing humans is they test it on mice. Some mice develop these thyroid tumors. It didn't happen in the human trials. It hasn't happened in humans since it's been on the market. But because of the theoretical species crossover, we're super cautious, about that. And that's why you ask people, do you have a history of medullary thyroid carcinoma or multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2?
I don't even know what that is.
Right, and nobody does because they've never heard of it, right?
Cindy, do you know what that is? She's over there like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, no, nobody does. But those are the questions I ask my patients just to make sure, because if you have heard of it, you've heard of it, right? And so, yeah, it's never been a thing that's popped up, but that's why. So, to get to your point, what are these, crazy long-term effects? We don't know of any right now. Gastroparesis, I'm sure you've heard of that one. Mm-hmm. That's a paralysis of the stomach, so it won't empty the contents.
I've seen that. I guess I've seen where people are going to the ER because they haven't pooped in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and constipation, obviously, if you're taking medication that slows down your digestive system to make you feel full so you don't eat as much, that can happen, and that's where a plan, right? You have to make sure your patients are staying hydrated. You have to make sure they're eating fiber and getting these things. I have a whole supplement protocol of digestive enzymes and probiotics and things that really help with that.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm the opposite. Like, I'm always like, I wish I could not go to the bathroom so much. And so I have really enjoyed it. I'm like, this is just normal. This is regular, normal.
As long as your stomach doesn't hurt, and you're not bleeding from your bum afterwards. So, yeah, I think that's good.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, even gastroparesis, a lot of people don't know, that is a complication in and of itself of having uncontrolled diabetes, because high blood sugar for so long damages the nerves that innervate the stomach that let go of the contents of it. And so it's like the chicken and the egg thing. Was it the GLP-1s that caused it, or was it the fact that you had diabetes and it wasn't well controlled?
Okay.
And there's a lot of lawsuits that, are going around the U.S., class action, whatever you call them. And I think it was, the federal system, there's an article about it, but they're like, yeah, they reject a lot of these lawsuits because these people don't even have a definitive diagnosis of gastroparesis.
Okay.
They're just claiming, I couldn't poop for 6 days, so I had the gastroparesis, now I'm suing you. It's like, no, that's not how it works. So, yeah, there's a lot of myths and misconceptions. And I'm not saying that, the medication can't have its side effects. But for the majority of people that when they're doing it right, it's medically supervised, it's a very safe medication.
Okay, so do you like all my concerns? I think I've told you a lot of them all the time. I'm like, remember when I was like, I don't look like a bobblehead? And you're like, why would you look like a bobblehead? Do you remember me saying that to you?
I do remember that.
Because I have to tell you, I had just gotten back from a retreat, and there was these two ladies at the retreat, and they were so thin, like, when your collarbones stick out. And the one was like on the couch, like doubled over in pain. And the other was like, oh, that's just part of it, And I'm like, what are they? So I sat there and listened to him.
Yeah.
Yes, I sat there and listened to him. And they were talking about being on a GLP-1 and like the pain that comes from it. And I mean, these women needed to be taken to like an anorexic clinic.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And that, when these first were becoming popular a few years ago, I would have patients that were coming to me from various med spas. I'm not going to, say any names or anything like that, and they were being told literally, if you're not sick, you're not doing it right. And I was just like, that is such a crock of crap. Like, we can lose weight and you can feel good about it. The goal is not to be sick. Like, I don't even know. And that's what happens when you get people that are slinging GLP-1s, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of go back to what we talked about earlier. It's like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And so many people out there are selling these peptides, these GLP-1s and different things, and they really don't know what they're doing, medically speaking, and they have no business doing it.
Yeah, do you see where I'm like, there's like so many red flags everywhere I go? I'm like, nope. No,
I remember. I remember when we first got acquainted, so to speak, and yeah, you were very, very hesitant, very much against stuff, and just, recording social media and the various things we were doing from, series to series, you kind of... Oh.
I've lightened up.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I like these.
That's how that works.
I do like these now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's just education, and when you're seeing so much like bad go on.
100%.
I'm like, I don't want that in my spear.
No, I get it. I totally get it.
Okay, so there are people buying peptides online from the black market. Or you call them the gray market?
Yeah.
Is that what you call them?
Yeah. I don't. We'd have to look it up what the difference is. I think a gray market, it's like a lot more, something you can actually Google and find. Whereas a black market's like super underground. You got to go to these secret websites.
It's like high school. Yeah. I got to go get it from the guy that knows a guy.
Where they sell like
they only take
human organs.
Well, I never went that deep. I was just buying marijuana.
that from the black market?
No, I don't know. From a guy in his car.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, gray market, but that's the thing is they go to these websites and literally the first thing that pops up is not meant for human consumption, right? So you're going to buy something that you're about to inject into your body that they say not meant for human consumption. What happens if something goes wrong? You have literally no legal grounds to go after anybody because they already told you this isn't meant for you to put in your body, even though it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you can't get, legitimate peptides from legitimate sources, and this and that comes with a certificate of analysis, COA, whatever. It's just, I don't know. If I'm going to be injecting something into my body, is it worth the risk? You just have to be really careful out there with where you're sourcing your peptides from.
I really think you do. And then, okay, so what I like about your approach is you're like, okay, you can take the peptides, but you need to go to the gym and you need to, or whatever you want to do, you got to lift the weights. You got to actually like take care of your body. And that made me feel a lot better about it too.
Yeah, right. Peptides, just like we talked about GLP-1s, they're tools. They are a part of the plan. They are not the plan itself. You don't take a peptide to replace exercise. You're not going to take a peptide to replace your crappy diet. You're not going to take a peptide to replace poor sleep, right? These are basic things that your body needs to thrive and to be healthy. And so many people just dismiss them because they're looking for this miracle cure for their poor lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so, yes, peptides can be a very good thing to optimize your health when you're already doing or start to do, those things that really matter.
Okay. So a lot of the women in my recovery program talk about how they took a GLP-1.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see like TikToks pop up about it, about alcoholism and GLP-1s. Have you heard anything about this?
From my own patients, yeah. I would have to look at like the clinical data if there's any, research that says, yeah, this actually is associated with, alcohol cessation or decreased cravings. But for sure, I have quite a few patients that have like, I don't even want alcohol anymore. It doesn't taste good to me. And it's helped them a lot with that for sure.
Yeah, mine was, I took a GLP-1 for just a couple of months right in the beginning. It was funny how it just like worked out.
Yeah.
But I do think it helped with things like I wanted something. It's weird. It's like I wasn't alcohol dependent, but it was like the habit was there, so it wasn't like I had to go detox or anything like that. But I definitely I was like, let's go buy Swedish fish, and things like that. And still, that's still one of mine. When I get a little like itchy or irritated places, like when we were in Vegas a few weeks ago, I was like, I'm going to go buy some Swedish fish.
Yeah.
It's just like, I was like, I don't want to be here right now. But I do know it helped quite a bit. So it wasn't like, because I do know people, a lot of times they'll replace their habits with like cake, ice cream, whatever else, cookies. Like you're bored, you don't know what to do with your time. And I do know that helped.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that my mind had forgot about it though. I had to really like put in the work for that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're not going to forget about it, obviously. But yeah, I have quite a bit of anecdotal evidence, from my patients that's worked for them as well.
Yeah. Okay. So the only time I've ever gotten sick was actually this weekend on the GLP-1s. And I don't take a lot. I've been taking like 5 units of trizepatide. Is it units? I go to the 5 on the little markers.
Yeah, so units is the measure of syringe. It's a measure of volume, fluid, right?
Yeah. So,
but milligrams is a totally different thing.
That's what I thought.
How much powder is in that little
I don't know. I do what it says to do.
Yeah.
So I do it, right? And then last week I was like, well, maybe I'll try 6 just because people were like, oh, you should increase it. I don't know. And I was like, I don't think I should.
Yeah.
But I did. What's funny though, is this was my own fault. So, and I don't think it had anything to do with the GLP-1. What did I run on Sunday? I ran 8 miles. I came home and we had a lot going on. My grandma just passed away and all of her stuff was being delivered that was like coming to my house.
Super stressful.
Yeah. So I ended up with just right now, if you come over to my house, my living room is full of boxes of her clothes and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I realized like I only drank like a protein shake, which that's not enough protein for the whole day and running on 8 miles. And then we went over to my parents for Super Bowl and they just had snacks out and they didn't end up making like burgers until like way after like
anything like
halftime.
Truly substantial.
So I ate the burger and I went home and I puked my guts out and I was like, I did that to myself.
Yeah. I think the between the stress and the exercise, 8 miles, that's a lot. And then going all day without anything. Have you eaten burgers in the past though?
Yeah. I mean, I'll eat like, I didn't eat the bun. I was just eating like the patty on like some veggies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only meant like if you had eaten them before and it made you sick, if you had just like a similar reaction.
No, I can eat I love a cow.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife loves to make smash burgers. That's funny.
Yeah. I was like, I love steak. I love
anything grass-fed beef.
I love some beef.
Yeah.
Some Costco grass-fed ground beef in the green package. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no. But that's the only time that I've ever felt like nauseous, sick,
Sure.
And so I don't know, but I feel like I
After a few
did.
months is great, right?
Yeah, I feel like I did that to myself for sure.
It was a long day for you.
Yes.
There's a lot going on.
I was like, I should not have waited to eat.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the other reasons I came to you too, because, you talk, like I was watching you talk about fitness and just different things like that. And I was like, I really can't run any faster. And you were like, it's a basic science equation.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You were like, it's weight, it's a bunch of different things. And you were like, I bet you if you drop a little bit of weight, you will be able to run faster and you'll feel better. And I was like, I think he's right.
Yeah.
And you were right.
And I was right. There you go. Sometimes I am.
Yeah, just this once.
Yeah.
So you've helped me a ton with that as well. Like, I feel like this morning, and you know how it is, like, I think women fluctuate too with their hormones. Like, I can tell I'm feeling really good, but I was,
Yeah, I'm married to one. I get it.
yeah, I had the speed pumped up there and I was like, I am a gazelle. I was like, I can run so fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, look at me. But I was like, oh, it's working.
It's a good feeling too, right?
It was such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't winded. I'm like, who am I? I think I also got a little runner's high there. Yeah, the
absolutely.
endorphins were pumping.
It's a thing. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I feel like everything I've came to you for, I'm like, oh, it's actually working.
Yeah.
And it's not a quick fix.
It's not a quick fix, and that's just what's the word I'm looking for? A testament to you and the effort that you're putting in, right? Like, what I gave you is very minimal. Here's the education, here's the science, here's the plan, right?
Yeah.
You brought it to life. And you're my favorite kind of patient because I can only help you as much as you're willing to help yourself.
Yeah. No, I go lift the weights. I do my running.
Absolutely. No, you're doing big things and it's working. It's paying off.
You know what? After this podcast comes out, so when this podcast comes out, I will have already ran the half marathon. I'm really excited about that.
Hells yeah.
I feel like I could go run it right now.
Yeah.
I would need like,
You could.
No, I would. I'd be like, okay, I need to eat a little bit and then I need to like get my hydration situated. And I'd be like, okay, bye guys.
Get your pre-run snacks ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I love to eat on my runs? It's probably not doctor approved, but is Rice Krispies.
That's okay.
They're so good.
Good sugar, easily absorbed, gets you going. I mean, as long as you stomach it, so to speak, right? It's what.
Oh yeah,
works
they
best
sit
for you.
well.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't not
Those
sit well.
gels are freaking disgusting.
Oh.
I feel like they're poison in a little pouch.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a marketing gimmick,
It could
personally.
be, for sure.
Okay, so what role does muscle, this is just a different question too, but what role does muscle, protein, sleep, and lifestyle play when someone is using, these GLP-1s?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's start with muscle. Okay, your muscle mass, or how much muscle you have on your body, is the primary engine that drives what's called your resting metabolic rate, aka how many calories you burn just from existing. Right. So on a daily basis, for example, I burn like 2,300 calories just from.
So how do you know that?
There's an equation.
You're like math.
There's a scientific equation where you input some stuff and we can do that. But yeah, so your muscle drives your resting metabolic rate, which accounts for 60% of your total daily energy expenditure, right? So literally, my muscle is what burns the majority of my calories.
And just hanging out,
Just
right?
hanging out. It doesn't
Okay.
even have to be active. It's just hanging out because muscle is metabolically active if it's on your body, okay?
Okay.
So that plays a huge role, and that's why it's so important that my patients, and we always emphasize, you have to focus and track your protein intake, right, on a daily basis, and you have to strength train because that's what stimulates what's called muscle protein synthesis. Otherwise, if you lose a bunch of weight, including your muscle mass, sure, the scale looks good, but now you've just wrecked your metabolism. And so when you come off the medication, guess what? All that weight's going to come right back on. Now you don't even have the muscle that you began with, and you're going to have a heck of a time getting that weight back off a second time if you try, or a third, et cetera. So yeah, muscle, absolutely essential. You got to preserve it. You got to gain it. You got to keep it on. And then you mentioned protein, right? Protein obviously stimulates what's called muscle protein synthesis. And just so people are aware, you need a minimum of 30 grams per serving to stimulate what's called the MPS. And so, if you're getting 5 here, 5 there, whatever, try to get at least 30 grams per serving per meal.
Yeah, you said that to me, and I was like, okay, so I'm just going to try to get a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's been great.
Yeah, and it absolutely works. So protein obviously provides or preserves your muscle. Sleep. So there's health risks that are associated with less than 7 hours of sleep and more than 9 hours of sleep. And why does sleep matter? Because if you are sleep deprived, your body responds to this, physiologically speaking, by increasing the production of hormones that make you hungry. So there's only one, actually. It's called ghrelin. Ghrelin is from a stomach. Think of ghrelin as the monster. And it will decrease the production of hormones that make you feel full. For example, GLP-1, GIP. And so not only do you get this decreased energy expenditure and this drive to eat more calories, then you also have cortisol secretion. What does cortisol do? Spikes your blood sugar. What do you do with that spiked blood sugar? You just store it as fat. So that's why I was saying, okay, you hit a weight loss plateau, you're not losing weight. What is your sleep quality like? We absolutely have to focus on sleep quality.
I love sleeping. I'm a sleeping champ.
Sleep is good. You need it. I mean, there's not a night me and my wife don't go to bed by 10 or, earlier.
For sure.
It's just not a thing. I don't know how people stay up.
A lot of it too. Cindy. Your kids are really young, right? I know. Cindy's like messaging me at like midnight. I'm like,
no, that's cool. I used to be able to do it. I just not anymore, right? I need my 10 to 6.
But honestly, though, too, it's like, I feel like I'm in a place where, I go to bed and I don't know what my kids do. I'm like, hopefully they go to bed, but they're old enough. Right. Yeah. And my one knows he's supposed to go to bed, and my other one's old enough that I can't dictate her bedtime.
Sure. Yeah. No, our kids are in bed and sleeping by the time.
Are they?
We go.
That's awesome. How old are your kids?
My youngest ones. My oldest ones. Yeah. I'm like. Same thing. I just have a prayer of hope that they're doing.
I know.
I am not staying up for you.
Quiet.
Be quiet when you come home.
I've never been more mad when I have to get up and I'm like, shut up out here.
Right.
I feel like an old lady.
Yeah, I know. I never thought I would be that guy. I thought I was like,
then
when
I
grow up, I'm going to be cool. And I mean, I'm kind of cool, but now I'm a little more not cool than I thought I would be. I need my sleep, man. I need my sleep.
Oh, absolutely.
Can't mess with my sleep.
Okay, so what does the process look like at Kaizen Health? I can kind of explain it as well. They book a call with you.
Yeah, it's super chill. So I have an online scheduling link. Pick a day, time that works best for you. You can do a call, which is typically what most people choose. We can do video, but most people are like, yeah, let's just do a phone call if they're at work or on a break or whatever. Initial consultations are always free, so people don't have to worry about, what do I have to pay for this visit? It's like, well, I don't know what you're coming to me for. Are you coming to me for weight loss? Are you coming to me for concierge service? Are you coming to me for labs, XYZ? So it's like, I don't know what it's going to cost you, but typically it's very affordable. But anyways, initial consultations are free. We go over everything, talk about what your health goals are, what you need, and if I'd be a good fit to help you. And then at that point, if you decide to move forward with any particular service, you would get charged for whatever the medication is or the lab, or if you start concierge service, $99 month to month type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling people. I'm like, it's $100 a month. It's like, well, 99. Yeah. I'm like, literally. I'm like, it's not. And they're like, well, how much were your labs? And I'm like, I don't even remember because it was inexpensive.
Yeah. And I get the discounted labs. And again, that comes to that. I don't charge more for labs, right? You're getting everything I can offer you at my price.
Which is awesome. When I went to go get my labs, it was so funny. Well, I passed out. And okay. Yeah. And she goes, we're going to call your doctor. And I was like, do not call my doctor. And she's like, really? You don't want me to call him? I'm like, no.
You were too embarrassed at that point.
I was.
It was too new.
I was like, do not call Steve and tell him I passed out. And she was like, okay, well, you're going to need to come back tomorrow.
You didn't want me to think you were a Chiweenie.
Well, that's what happened. I was like, goodbye, world.
It's all right.
I was dying though. And
you're not the first. You won't be the last.
I know. And I've passed out before, but not like, I just was dying. They're like, we're going to go ahead and call your doctor. And I remember just laying there and I was like, do not call my doctor.
But you could have. You've been like, here's his cell phone, right?
I'll just text him.
Yeah, just
don't
text
call
him.
him. Text him.
Just text him.
Okay, so what's your website again?
KZN.health.
Yeah, and then if you guys just go to Instagram, and actually if you just search Dr. Steve Baum, you'll pop right up.
Yeah.
And then you guys can book right from there as well. And I talk a lot about Dr. Steve over on my Instagram as well. We think he's awesome. He does a really great job. I've sent so many people over to you that just are like obsessed with you.
Oh, thank you.
I haven't heard a single bad thing about you. In fact, all I hear is people bragging to their friends about you. So you've got something good going on.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so thanks for coming on the podcast today, and thanks for your time, and go check him out online, guys.
Appreciate you.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the Samantha Parker Show. I wanted to let you know that you can head over to Substack and you can subscribe to Sam's Sober Club. I've got a lot of really amazing episodes over there, like my 30-day sober journal and some subscriber-only content. I also blog about your first 30 days being sober, your first day sober, your first year sober. I am sharing it all over on my Substack. So come join Sam's Sober Club. We've got it linked up in the show notes. And thank you so much for being here on the podcast.